All right, guys, Cabo is coming up. We're in February, less than a month away. March 3rd through 8th. Tickets are available. You guys heard us talking about this before. We're going to have Gary and Sage Brecka, Pace Morby, Tom Ferry, and Girls with Grit, and along with Kathy and Tina Call and Veronica Figueroa. So it's going to be a wonderful time. It's a tax write-off. I think you can write off like four, what are they called? Meetings for your corporations. Hey, here's a great meeting to write off. Right? So you will not want to miss it. If you're interested in learning more, go ahead and scan the QR code. I'll see the phone, so we will move on. And then this coming, well, when is it? February 19th. Mary Maloney will be coming. She'll be speaking at PCAR. So we will not have the Thursday meeting here. Once a month we go over at PCAR. She's going to be speaking, and afterwards there will be lunch here in the office from 12:30 to 2. So feel free to bring a friend if you're looking to bring. Please do not attend this event alone. Right? Don't necessarily bring your best friend who you work with every single day that's already with DXP, but maybe bring somebody who is a struggling agent. Maybe bring somebody who's with another brokerage that could benefit from learning this information. Some quick info about her. She's a master marketer. She's ranked #1 in the coastal North County, San Diego by RealTrends. So she knows what she's doing. Scan the QR code. The event is free. If you guys could help Rob and all the support staff know how many people to plan for a day of, just do us a favor and scan the QR code. It goes a long way in helping us set. Any questions on this event? No. All right, next is our mortgage minute with our in-house lender, JJ Mack and Lindsay Boris. Give them a round of applause, everybody.
What's up, folks? Wow, there's a cigar here.
Wonder who that's for.
Notice.
All right.
You should lick it.
I'm soon.
Wait, measure own.
Man, I wish I could smoke cigars. Donnie's tried to get me to smoke cigars so many times. I can't, every time I try, it's like my head just like it hurts so bad. So maybe just smoke. You're telling me I'm not smoking the right cigars, though.
That's what it is.
It's the nicotine. It's the nicotine.
Black and mild still in count. The white owl with the
I gotta get in today. Yeah. Well, I am excited as I look around this room. I can see people that we've closed loans for. Hopefully, like half the room. So thank you guys so much for trusting in me and my team to help you out. It means the world to me. So let's go over some stuff about the market today, and then I'm going to have Lindsay talk a little bit about a loan product that we have that I think you could all benefit from. So mortgage bonds are up this week. That's a good thing. Mortgage bonds are up. That means that it's in the green. Things are going good. They're like over 20 basis points today. So we're getting back. The January 9th was like that big day, right? That was the day that everything went the best that we had seen in the 3.5 years. So we're almost back to there again. So hopefully this continues to go. And the reason why I think it will is because of the jobs. It's based off of inflation and jobs. That's what the bond market looks at. And so jobs report are lower than they were estimated to be today. They came out with something called the JOLTS report. So they're way down, it's at lowest level since 2020. So it's amazing that we've seen such a big drop off. Hiring rates are at the lowest level since 2013, removing COVID out of that. And then the quit rate level is the lowest level since 2014. So nobody's quitting their jobs because they all need them. There's nothing else out there to go find. Removing COVID from that, obviously. So more than doubled the job cuts in January of 2025, and the highest amount in any month since 2009. So the jobs market, although you might be going on TVs and seeing everybody talk about, oh, the jobs actually aren't as bad as they are, they're not good right now. It's really, really bad out there. So your clients right now are having a tough time finding jobs or keeping their jobs. So we got to be cautious of that. So between 78% are stated cuts because are stating they're cut because of AI. So there's between 7 to 8%. So that could actually be more, but that's just what the reporting.
Did you say 7 to 8 or 70?
7 to 8 are stating is because of AI is taking over those jobs and making things more efficient. And so that is a huge thing right now. The Fed cares about two things, like I said, inflation and jobs. And so where the Fed is at with inflation, they're pretty happy with where things are at. We're not exactly there, but we're pretty good. And so because of that, that's not counting the tariff stuff. They put that out because that's a whole different thing. But the labor market shows clear weakness in where they're at. So that to me makes it seem like we should still see some benefits to the second part of this year because they're going to hopefully cut some rates. That sets us up really nicely for that. Jerome Powell, he's out in May. So he's going to go bye-bye. And Trump has told us who he wants to put in there. And so he's made his recommendation. The Senate needs to approve that still. If they do, a guy named Kevin Warsh, W-A-R-S-H, is going to be replacing him. Jerome Powell liked to look at the past, to the data. Kevin likes to look at the future, which is a good thing. We want to see where we're going versus where we've been. And so we don't want to make decisions out of fear. We want to make decisions out of what's potentially coming. So that means that hopefully they'll cut before they see what's in the future. So that could be some more cuts with this new Fed chair. So it could be a really good thing for us. I'm hopeful that that happens, but we'll see. And that's going to help rates. So I'm optimistic for that. And I'm also optimistic for all of you guys, because I was just talking to a friend of mine this morning. I was walking in with Johnny and I was talking to him. I said, hey, you're a big part of, PCAR and SAR. Tell me the numbers. What's going on out there? It's February now. Do you have the numbers yet? He wasn't able to give me the exact specifics, but he said that there's only about 6,000 agents now registered in Sacramento County and 3,000 in Placer. It's on average, we're like 5,000 in Placer and 9,000 in Sacramento. There's a lot less real estate agents than there has been. That's good for all of you that are committed to your craft, moving forward with your job into this next year. And man, they're having a tough time. The affiliates, there's not very many affiliates that are sponsoring SAR and PCAR. So if you know anybody, get them in there. There's only like 350 affiliates in PCAR and 250 in SAC. SAC is more money. That's why there's less there. But that's good and optimistic stuff for all of you guys. Going into this year, less agents to compete with. There is some less buyers, but that will change as rates continue to go down. Okay, so I'm hopeful this was helpful. I'm going to have Lindsay come up here. While I'm doing that, I'm going to have her talk quickly about the Dream for All and then quickly about some renovation loans, because these are the things that are going to help you guys right now. When you have a buyer and it's a first-time home buyer, the market is probably more competitive or less competitive right now? Probably more competitive. Yeah, so if the market's more competitive, your first-time home buyers are going to have a harder time getting offers accepted. So how do we be strategic in finding those buyers the right programs? Well, if your buyer wants to go buy a $600,000 house and he's competing against 15 other people, maybe you can look at a slightly less priced house that there's less competition because it needs some renovations and get them into something that way. So I'm going to have her talk about that. I forgot to give it to you. I'm sorry. I do have a monthly morning mortgage market update that I'm going to start doing the last Monday of every single month. If you want to come, it's going to be about 30 to 40 minutes of a lot more of this. I'm going to show a lot of graphs and charts. I'm going to show you guys how you can turn more of your buyers on the fence into escrows and using the data behind it and educating your clients on how to do that. That's going to be the last Monday of every single month, starting this month. It's at 10 a.m. at my office, so February 23rd. So come on by, it's on Monday. If you want to be a part of that, just shoot me a text message or shoot this number a text message, and we'll make sure you have a seat. Seating is limited. All right, Lindsay, I'm gonna go sit down and let you chat.
Thanks, guys. Keep it brief, but I wanted to give you guys a little update on the Dream for All program. We are actively running applications and scenarios for people right now. The entry window is February 24th through March 16th. So we have until the 16th of March to enter your buyers in. And how we approach that is we give people the numbers, both for what it looks like with 20% down payment, and then also what they qualify for just the standard down payment assistance. We want to give them a backup plan. People like the numbers with 20% down. They're like, ooh, that feels good. And what I'm telling people is that you can't win if you don't play. So it is a lottery system. There is about a 10 to 12% voucher recipient based on the average of applicants they've had and the amount of people they've been able to give vouchers for. So it's decent odds. And we've also had a few buyers we had one buyer that was waitlisted from the 2023 Dream for All for over a year and ended up getting a voucher. She got moved up the wait list and bought a house. So pretty much any first-time buyer interested in down payment assistance, we're also giving them the Dream for All options, what that looks like. And we facilitate all of it. So it's not like it's really an extra layer of anything they need to do. We help get them in for the lottery. It's 20% shared appreciation. If you have additional questions about how that functions, let me know. But it's a great thing to just let your first-time buyers know about. And then the other thing that we're finding a lot of is our first-time buyers also, or just someone that's maybe in the little bit lower price range. And we know competition is getting pretty stiff in that, under $500,000 price range. But we have a great renovation loan, some caveats to it. It's owner occupied. So we do have other investment options, but this is for an owner occupied residence. You can do 3.5% down FHA, 5% down conventional. We cannot use down payment assistance in combination with that. So they have to come up with their own funds, but it's pretty low down payment. There's barely, I think it's between 1/4 and 3/8% adjustment on the rate for that. And they can finance any needed or wanted cosmetic upgrades into their loan up to the county loan limit. So over 800,000, depending on what county you're in. So it's the only option for financing to buy a house that is not currently inhabitable. So if it says, investor only, this house needs to be bought for cash because there's a hole in the roof that's operating as a skylight, you can finance that under the renovation loan and be able to do those necessary fixes, plus put in flooring, fix up the kitchen, do the bathrooms. Their minimum's 5,000. There's really no maximum up to the county limit.
Disbursements of those, and how is the funds dispersed?
Yep. So
Schedule, it's been in place.
Yep. So how that works, they are a little bit longer escrow. You probably need about 40 days to close on those because it's a little bit more document heavy. We have to get your contractor approved. You get to choose your contractor as long as they are licensed and we just have to get some documentation to get them approved. We have a handful of vendors that we can suggest as well, but usually, most of you guys probably have referrals there. So they just have to get approved, and we do have to have bids and quotes for the scope of work. And that is what will get paid out throughout the escrow period. So it's dispersed from the mortgage company to the contractor. So it's not a sweat equity type loan. They're not going to give you $50,000 to do the work yourself. It has to be tracked and paid out that way. But a lot of first-time buyers we're finding they don't necessarily want to do that work themselves anyways. Maybe don't know how. So that is one of the things we let
Is there
people know.
any particular, it's even part of the loan? You get into a wall and you realize, OS, what am I gonna do with this new problem?
Mhm.
How do you deal with unforeseen larger issues?
Yeah, so they do factor in a percentage for variables, but it's really not finalizing. So they're going to look at a after renovation value estimated. So, to factor that in, because they do want to make sure the scope of work that you're going to add into the property is going to actually appraise at the end. And they will factor in a little bit of buffer there. But if we need to increase the loan amount, there's the possibility for that. If other things need to be added in before we close.
What's the interest rate?
There's probably, so for an FHA, we're probably going to be looking in low mid sixes. There's between 1/4 and I'd say probably max maybe 0.5% adjustment for both conventional and FHA, depending on their credit score. So it's still going to be factored in for that, but above market rate.
Is this just a rebrand to okay?
It is, it's essentially that, but we can do it as conventional as well. So.
The qualifications, do they qualify, their income qualify on the after repaired value or of the loan or on the initial?
Yeah, so they still have to income qualify for the loan amount, which is the purchase price plus their renovation. And it still follows Fannie and Freddie guidelines for whichever product we're looking at. based on qualifying ratios.
You guys use a consultant or is there room for a consultant in there? The 203K consultant needs to be a big deal.
We have an entire renovation team
You might not need it.
that handles and facilitates all of it, just because it's paperwork heavy, and relatively involved. So we are still the mediator between the clients, and our renovation team, but they have a whole support team that this is exclusively what they do nationwide for our company, and they do a ton of them. So they're very well versed.
Do they have to, like, give me that information, like, they needed?
No,
Or gonna just be?
just be cosmetic. If they want to, the house is perfectly fine. It doesn't need to be, have new flooring put in or the roof repaired, plumbing, anything like that. You can literally do anything. It needs to have a fixed foundation and 4 walls. Other than that, you can finance any other needed work, plumbing, electrical, roof, landscape. You could decide that you want to finance your entire kitchen and bathroom model and put it in. You do as little as $5,000 to put flooring in. Probably wouldn't be worth it for $5,000. You'd probably come up with that somewhere else. But, usually where we start to see is maybe over the $30,000 mark. That's where it makes sense. People don't have that money. And if you put a minimum down payment initially when you buy a house, you can't draw from your equity you don't have the equity to draw from for a long time. So it's a way to be able to finance that up front if you don't have the cash flow. So.
The efficient mortgage is usually the same interest rate as a regular FHA loan. If you have energy efficient things, like a HVAC or new windows or roof, whatnot, that is going to be a great way to go in, get renovations done without having to raise your interest rate, still paying the low down payment.
Is there an extended escrow for weekend ends?
Sure, what?
Is
Yeah,
Around a 40 days.
it a 40-day time you do the energy efficient?
I believe really the kind of extended period there is that there's just approval and documentation that has to go through. So it just doesn't move quite as quickly through processing. And I believe that running this entire. No.
Board members, you can use
Mm-mm.
anybody once you get.
Yeah, as long as we can get them approved. So we need to be able to show their license and their insurance, and then they have to produce quotes and bids for the scope of work. But, it can't be a handyman doing the work. It has to be someone approved. But no, they have a handful of forms they have to fill out and a few documents to provide. But yeah, let me know if you guys have any more questions or if you want to dive into that any further. But we handle a decent amount of those, and we're finding a lot more people are interested in them right now, because those lower priced houses or houses that need some work that are sitting, that can be a great opportunity to get a buyer in. We have one right now, they're interested in adding in a master bedroom and bathroom to a house that's pretty small, but it's on a good sized lot and it's been sitting for 100 days. And so that is a good option to keep them under the price point they want it at. So
Where did your owner occupancy start at? Is it after the work is done, they have to stay for a year? Or does that start at time of close and then if the work took 6 months, or are they 6 months into the required occupancy?
I believe their occupancy is going to start once the home becomes habitable. But I don't think, are you talking about kind of how like down payment assistance has a certain amount of time you have to live in the
Yes,
house?
I'm talking about somebody buys
No.
it, they start the work and then they're gonna live there for a year and then they're gonna sell it. So it's like quasi investment.
Well, they will sign documentation that states they intend to occupy. So it's not really the same as like down payment assistance. If you no longer occupy the house after you buy it, they want their money back that you borrowed because it's not your primary residence anymore. This doesn't have money borrowed like that from a third party entity, so it doesn't follow the same. You don't have to live there and then pay anything back. It's still your mortgage, and you intend it.
Doing the 203K loan.
Yeah.
They were great.
Yeah.
I like to see them back.
So yeah, I'll let you guys go. I talked to them. No, anyone it has to be owner occupied. We do have flip and fix options and investor options too, but this specifically with the minimum down payment is for owner occupied, but you can have owned before. All right, thanks guys.
Wasn't that fantastic?
I have a quick introduction. So I called an expired listing about 2 years ago and connected with this gentleman and listed his home, sold his home. We started talking more, and lo and behold, He has his real estate license. He's joining eXp Realty. Ron Frazier, Ron. Up on board. Awesome.
Awesome. There you go. I love that. One of my ISAs, he accidentally butt dialed somebody and he turned it into a listing appointment. So you never know. You never know how life's gonna play out. So we have one more. Let's see if I can do this. Anyways, the next I know. The next speaker we have is going to be Ryan Rosas. He is the broker of record for eXp Northern California and commercial. So he'll be speaking on Thursday, February 26th. So anyways, he lives local, great guy. He's going to be speaking on costly mistakes top producers make. So whether you're a top producer or you aspire to be one, he's going to be going over things that you do not want to do. All right, I think is that it for the slides?
Just
All right.
the man himself.
Now we have the man himself, Mr. Larry Marlott. Look at that beautiful blue. Yeah, Larry. There you go. Okay, by the way,
There we go.
I got you a cigar. And by the way, guys, he does signs for so many people. He is a gem of a human being. He knows a lot about marketing and signs. So that's why I said, Larry, would you come? You how many signs do you think you do a year?
A year, probably 25,000, 26,000 is probably the average.
He has a unique perspective on those signs that we all want branded to ourselves. So we might be clipping this on the wall.
Start. I've used Larry for that 30 years, all around, all of his locations. He's been the best sign provider we have ever used for our company. You don't need to look any further.
Awesome. Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Great.
And Larry, before you start, what's your podcast?
I'm a cigar guy. I've been smoking cigars for 35 years. Myself and two other guys have a podcast locally called Beyond the Humidor. So twice a month, every other week, we record a podcast. We talk about cigars, barbecue, life. It is not politically correct, and it is not, it is not, PC appropriate by any stretch of the imagination. Anybody in here that has known me for a while, I have to be real careful of what I say and how I say it, out in public. So that's why you don't see me in your office very often. But I am the sign guy. I own Paradise Signs and Graphics. I have been in this industry in one way, shape, or form almost 30 years. Our primary focus is real estate, construction signage. Probably 85% of our business is real estate signage. And then we do banners, decals, sponsor signs for youth sports, churches, and high schools. That's it.
And everything you see in this office is done by Larry.
Yeah, all the interior stuff I don't like talking about that because that's a lot harder than I want to do sometimes. But for this office, for these guys, absolutely, I will keep doing that. Couple of things I wanted to talk about real quick that aren't sign related that we have branched out on that will could possibly help you in your business. Two things. We're doing utility trailer rentals by the day, by the week, by the month. It's contactless. You can go right to QR code with your phone, your computer. Go on the website. We have a small 10-foot dump trailer, low side dump trailer available. We have an 18-foot open utility trailer, and we have a 7x14 enclosed trailer. So if you have a client needs furniture moved, they need something hauled, you can get on there, get on the website through your phone. If you've ever purchased anything online on your phone, you can do this. Once you fill out the information, for your tow vehicle, your insurance, all that good stuff, it will send you via text and email a 4-digit code for the lockbox on the trailer. You can come pick it up anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Use it, drop it back off. You text or email back and say, hey, we're done. And it's as simple as that. The second option, if you don't want to tow it, and this is just for a large 6-yard dump trailer, 12-foot dump trailer. If you have a client that needs to clean up some stuff before you list the house, Joey, I know you've had a couple of those, Barry, I know you. What we offer with this is we will bring the trailer out to that house. You load it, they load it, a couple of high school kids load it. I am old and fat. I do not load dump trailers. Right now, it's a 3-day rental. We can extend that if you need to. We drop it off, you load it, we pick it up and dump it, one flat rate. There are some caveats with that. It's a 2,000 pound limit. I've had this trailer 11 years. I've gone over 2,000 pounds one time. So chances of you doing that, not very likely. Anything the dump charges me extra, I will bill you. Also, no tires, no paint, no solvents, no concrete chunks, stuff like that. So if your client throws 3 tires in there, it gets bumped up. I'll send you a photo. Hey, there were 3 tires in there. It was 36 bucks. You owe me another 36 bucks. Simple as that. I've got a few flyers. I will leave these for you guys if you're interested in that stuff. Let's talk about signs. Here, we'll just pass those around.
Actually, if you want, I'll make some copies.
Okay, I got about 10, so you know, you can have these and then make whatever else you need. Signage. One thing that has come to my attention the last couple of weeks, directional signage, unincorporated Placer County, mainly North Auburn, Meadow Vista, out towards Georgetown, out towards Cool. You get out on a lot of these rural areas and it's harder to get people back to where your listing is. So you have your post install company or you do it yourself, put up a post at corner. Watch where you're doing that. Placer County has become a lot more proactive in the last few months as to removing those signage at rural crossroads, stuff like that. 95% of what you see driving around right now is illegal by statute for those types of signs. Depending on the location, it's anywhere from 15 to 30 feet off the edge of the pavement. Most of those locations, if you're 15 feet off the pavement, you've crossed a fence and you're now on private property. Don't do that either. So be aware of that. We do offer 12 by 24 inch directional stake signs that's on a 48-inch steel stake that you can put in the ground yourself. If that's something you'd be interested in seeing some artwork on, I'll grab a card from you guys and I'll email you a sample when I get back to the shop. Cheaper option than having a post installed, a lot cheaper option if it disappears. Because if you have signpost or foothill, put a post, one of your sign panels and your riders, you're going to be out upwards of $250 if that post goes missing. So just something to think about. Signage wise, what we've seen kind of trending a little bit different. QR codes. How many of you guys are using QR codes on your stuff? Okay, see a lot more hands raised than the last couple times I've asked. That seems to be coming back pretty strong, partly because of AI, because I think it's so much easier to generate a QR code now. We just printed 3 36 by 36 inch QR codes for some commercial signage for a realtor that he created and downloaded off of ChatGPT in about 2 minutes, standing in my shop. Forwarded them to me on email. We blew them up to 36 by 36. They were usable. I've had a couple of questions in the last few days about caricatures. I think I'm saying that right. How many of you guys have jumped on this Facebook trend where the Chat GPT prompt asks you, you put in the Chat GPT prompt, it will create a caricature of you based on what it knows about you, your job. Has anybody done that? Kelly, I know you've done it as I've seen it. So I've had a couple of people ask me, can we take that caricature and create a sign with that on it? The simple answer is yes, but I need you to help me. That free version that's going around right now from your phone and Chat GPT, probably not high enough resolution for me to enlarge because it's creating that for your Facebook or Instagram is a thumbnail size. So if I blow that up to, 8, 10, 12 inches to be on a sign, it's going to be real blurry. The option you have is to get on your computer with Chat GPT, ask the same prompts, And then once it creates that image, then ask it to remove the background imaging so that you just have the character of yourself. And then that typically is high enough resolution that we can use it. Canva is also the other thing, that yes, we can print from some Canva files, but how are you using Canva? Do you have the free version on your phone? Not going to work. Typically, if you're designing something on your phone, again, it's for your social media. Comes out at 1/4 of an inch by 3/4 of an inch. I can't enlarge that to a 3-foot sign and not have it visible.
We advanced Canva platform.
Okay, and then I know there's a subscription Canva that's not very expensive. I think it's less than $20. I haven't had any problems printing from that type of Canva file as long as it's saved correctly. You want to save it as large, as close to the finished print size if you want. So if you're designing a 4x4 commercial sign, try to save it as close to 48 by 48 inches as it will allow you to at the highest resolution. And the best file for that based on Canva is a PNG file. So that way we can help with that. We're seeing quite a few, people send stuff over that's been either Canva or Chat GPT generated, and most of it's pretty good. Keep in mind fonts for signs, 40 yards, 40 miles an hour. That's what you want to be able to people to read. And I'm old school, less information, the better. If there's a sign on a post in front of a house with your name and phone number, big, bold, and readable, if they don't know what that means, you might not be able to help them. I'm just saying. Just, remember that people are typically, driving by when they see this. You want a bolder font, thicker stroke. You can use some of the scriptier stuff, but make sure you bold or over bold that choice on the font when you're putting something together so that it's readable as it going down the road. Open house signs, we're starting to see, again, back to the municipalities, the counties, the cities. As the weather warms up, typically more open house signs. Don't put your open house sign in the roadway, in the gutter. Don't block the sidewalk. Don't block the handicap access to a crosswalk, anything like that. And also, if you get to the corner and there's already 3 agents have signs pointing the direction that your open house is, don't put a 4th sign. They're not following your sign, they're following a sign. So go down a little bit, put one. Just kind of some tips to keep you from losing signage. Elk Grove, really bad about just picking stuff up and throwing it at a dumpster at the city yard. You don't have an opportunity to get your stuff back down there. Rockland's kind of hit or miss. The county, Placer County, is kind of hit or miss. It's depending on, most of the stuff picked up on the weekends is run by road crew guys that are working overtime, and they're using what's the word I'm looking for? Usually juvenile cons that have work release stuff to do on the weekends. That's who's going up and picking up all the signs. So depending on which guy's working overtime, he may take all that stuff back and set it in the county yard up in Auburn, or it may just go into a dump truck and go to the dump that day. So you're kind of hit and miss as far as Placer County on whether you're going to get your signs back or not. Questions? Anybody want to know anything about signs?
Yeah, there's a lot of gated communities around here, and they want their own specific artwork for sale signs. How do you have that? Do you have
95% of the HOA stuff in this area I have. Anybody in here on the board for PCAR or anything? No? Would you guys consider getting together as a group through your board of realtors, whichever board you belong, and see if we can't do something about the number of ridiculous signs you have to purchase for these HOA communities? It's ridiculous. I can think of 15 right here within a 40-minute drive of any direction. And I've argued about it for years and it just doesn't go anywhere. The fact that 10 people on a HOA board can get together and decide the size, shape, material, color of a real estate sign is probably the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. But anytime this comes up at the board or anywhere else, there's always one or two agents typically live in that community that's being complained about that are under the impression, well, I'm going to get all the business. Oh, you're just making it hard on yourself and everybody else. If you have any questions about what type of signage you need for certain HOAs, give me a call, shoot me an email. Like I said, we have Serrano, Promontory, Los Lagos, Cata Madera, the rivers down in West Sac, all that stuff. So the only thing we don't make signs for is we do not do the open house signs for Del Webb, Lincoln, or Del Webb, Roseville. The Board of Realtors in Placer County sells those for cheaper than I can make them. So just go there. I'll save you some money because they have a particular style and I don't have a vendor even right now that I can get the particular hinge frame that the board or that the HOA requires. So, yes, sir.
I was up in your shop the other day and you showed me that enormous, awesome, brand new piece of equipment. What does that do?
We just bought at the beginning of November a brand new Roland flatbed printer, 5 by 10 foot true gantry flatbed. So what it does is it prints directly to signboard, UV ink. We've had 2 roll feed, tractor feed flatbed printers prior to this, but everything now is digital, regardless of what it is.
I guess the point is it creates a
Much higher resolution. It will print.
And the other side companies can put in the massive machine.
It'll print 3,000 DPI if you can provide me that quality of a file. It's CMYK color. So if your artwork has specific Pantone, PMS, hex, however it was designed, if you give me those numbers, have your graphic designer give me those numbers, we can plug those colors directly in, and that's how it outputs. It's like I said at the beginning, we do primarily real estate and construction signage. With upgrading this printer and the software and another computer, I'm about 140,000 in on that. So for that kind of investment, you need to be running that machine every day. And that's what we do. And that's why, you know, the fast signs or some of these franchise places around here, they don't have one of these machines because they don't have the volume of work to justify that kind of payment. Simple as that.
If one of the agents uses a local sign post company,
Mhm.
what's the protocol with your office that they order the sign?
Fast Post is gone now. I'm sorry. Foothill Post, Signpost, both pick up from me minimum of 2 days a week. Signpost just recently changed owners, so there's a little bit of struggle there with kind of some of the costs and procedures. My personal opinion right now, I think Fast Post is a better option. Just, you know, depending on where your primary scope of business is. They have the largest service area right now for the least amount of cost. They go a farther direction in outlying areas before you start incurring mileage costs and stuff like that. If most of your business is up Nevada City, Grass Valley, there is a local guy up there, Phillips Post Service, Shane Phillips, does a really good job. Comes down probably about as far as Auburn. But anything down here, it would be too expensive for his travel time for you guys to do, but he is an option. Also, any one of these guys will put up a post only for you. So if it's out of your normal area and you call Phillips and you have something in Grass Valley, just tell them you need a post only and go up there and hang your sign yourself when you take the lockbox and stuff up. So that'll save you a little bit of money too. Yes, sir.
Want to give Larry a shout out. I've been doing business with Larry since 2003. I don't go anywhere else. Customer service is great. The only disclosure I would say that you have a mock-up of a sign and he gives you an example. Please communicate with him. Don't leave him in the dark and don't do 15 revisions. If you know what I mean. It's not cool. He's got stories that will regale you for days about how agents are divas, no production. but they
Jesus,
want-
Frank, what are you trying to do to me here?
Keeping it real, Larry.
Yeah, yeah. Let me sink my own ship, would you?
Not only that, I bought signs for people in my group across the United States. He ships out. So if you want to be a hero to your group, talk to Larry. I've had signs taken down to LA, Oklahoma, all kinds of places. He's the best.
Yes.
And typically I'll ship to somewhere else and then to your out of state. That way it doesn't look like there's a box coming from California. I know a lot of places don't like that, you know. Tennessee, I don't think the post office is in Tennessee. We'll let a box in from California.
Larry, we've used you since 2001, but I know Brent was using you all the way back in the day.
Yeah, I started in the industry, honestly, as an install guy, back in 1998, late 98, early 99. And all I did was installations. Posts, I was one of the post guys. I had my own post service for a while out of Lincoln. I ended up selling that to Signpost Company, went to work for Signpost for a while. But I also did graphics installations for about 14 shops here in this area that they didn't, small 1-2 man shops. They didn't really have the capacity to come out here to an office, put something up on the inside, or go, do 2 pest control trucks at the pest control office in El Dorado Hills. I worked a graveyard job at the time. So when I got off in the morning, I would just kind of coordinate with whatever shop needed something installed. I would go do that. I transitioned into the sales and manufacturer side of signs in 2003 because I had a stroke at 34 years old. I dropped in a lady's front yard digging a post hole the week after 4th of July. Luckily, they were home, and, so long story short is that was sleep apnea related. So I'm now on a CPAP machine. I'm still heavier than the doctor wants. Doctor doesn't want me smoking cigars. He does not want me drinking bourbon, but there's also a quality of life issue with this. So, it's I got to battle that. So yeah, I've been fighting this industry for almost 30 years now.
You've also done 4x8 signs for me. Got a lot of calls off the freeway from those signs.
Yeah, for commercial signage or large property signage, really good way to market something bigger. You can I mentioned earlier that we did a QR code, a large QR code to go on some existing commercial signs that we did for an agent. I try to tend to steer you on large lot of commercial stuff to not be so property specific so that you can reuse those signs. However, there's a couple of ways. If you want specific property information, we can do that. We can either do it as a runner, like a large rider underneath, or we can box out that information in the main sign itself, where the next listing you get, we just do an overlay and cover that up with the new information. Acreage is a good place to use the larger signs because typically you're unincorporated county, so you don't have as many people looking at what you're doing sign wise. It's hard to do a 4x4 in a residential area because even if there's not an HOA, the city itself won't allow that. But anything you guys have out that might be a bigger lot, larger property, horse property, anything like that, put the specific features on it. One of the big things agents miss on rural properties is, does it have ag water? PCWA, NID water, huge deal if you live out in the country. Because if the property does not have ag water right now, it could take you up to 10 years to get ag water on the list. So stuff like that, does it have, how many gallons a minute does a well put out? Put stuff like that on those rural property signs, and it'll just generate some calls. Any other questions?
What's your feeling on headshots, like the agent, should they have their photo on the sign? How big should that be if they have their head on the sign?
We just went through that. I had to redo some signs for an agent because she kept telling me, make the photo bigger, make the photo bigger, make the photo bigger. When I'll print whatever you want. I don't care. I am gonna attempt to steer you along so that you are compliant with not only the agency that you work for, but also the Department of Real Estate in the state of California. Ultimately, it's your choice. I am not the sign police. I don't care what you do. I'll print anything you want. If I've told you, hey, you have to have your DRE number on there and you don't put it on there, and your broker says, hey, you can't use those signs, I'm not reprinting your signs for free. I told you. Okay. Photos. I'm kind of 6 and 1/2 dozen other on photos. How many of you guys have a photo business card? Okay. How, of those people that raise their hand, how many have photos on their signs? Okay. Use writers. There's a couple of just standard yes for a photo. Number one, are you working a specific geographic farm? If you are working a geographic farm, then I think yes, put a photo on your sign. If you have a photo business card, photo on your website, photo in your email signature, it helps ties everything together. If you are new to the business, but you came from an industry in that area that you were readily recognizable to the general public, you were a school teacher, you were a grocery store clerk, you were whatever, photo might be a good idea so that people go, hey, that's the same Barry from whatever. The one thing I will caution you on, and if you'd have told me 30 years ago, I would be sitting up here talking about this, I would have called you a liar to your face. Ladies especially. If the first reason they call from a photo on your sign is probably not a call you want. So again, that's just the state of the times we live in. So keep that in mind. Now I've had female agents specifically tell me there's no way in hell I will put a photo on a sign ever. Okay. Personal choice. I get it. It's not a huge deal, I don't think, but it is something, it's been brought up enough times to me that it's worth mentioning, something to think about. With that being said, you shouldn't be holding an open by yourself, in my opinion anyway. So you should follow some procedures to make sure that, you have somebody with you or you're looking out for your safety to begin with. So, if you are going to put a photo on it, please make it relative to what you look like at this point in time. I say that and I'm serious. I probably
Not 30 years ago.
1 out of 8. I do a lot of business over the phone and over the internet where I have never seen you up to that point. 1 in 8. People come to pick up their signs. They walk through the door. Hey, can I help you? I'm here to get my signs. Oh, there they are. Oh, we're not even close. Not even close. Guys are, the next thing I'm going to say, guys are worse at this than women. Take a picture based on how you are going to present yourself to your client. Last time I was in a suit and tie was 2011 for court. True story. Don't, I had a guy just within the last year send me a picture. He was wearing a double-breasted suit with a vest. I didn't even know you could still buy those. Oh, like,
Where you get them, Joey?
Yeah, Joey knows.
Joey knows.
wow. Sorry, Joey, I didn't mean to tee it up like that. Yeah, you're in a sport coat. Now you look good, brother. And then he crosses his arms. But all joking aside, just, try to reflect the image you're putting out there on site is what they're actually going to see. People that have been in the business for a while, how many of you remember Mary King, Caldwell Banker for years, and then with Keller Williams for a long time? You guys remember Mary King?
Yep.
Mary marketed on everything she did with a picture of her horse, and her dog. She was on the board of directors for 2 or 3 different charitable horse programs. Ride to Walk in Lincoln was the biggest. She was the director out there for years and years. She knew everyone that owned a horse in 3 counties. If all you knew Mary by was her marketing, she was stately 50-some-year-old woman. Mary was probably late 70s. Still had the same photos for 5 years. Mary, got to update this. Got to get it, the horse and the dog in the photo were gone. My hand to God, what I'm about to tell you is true. I finally talked Mary into updating her photo. Her son, professional photographer. And when I say professional photographer, traveled the world taking pictures for Vogue, for Playboy, for Sports Illustrated, that type of professional photographer. She made him Photoshop her new photo in with the dog and the horse. But she updated the photo. Leslie Arnott. Anybody remember Leslie? Okay. Leslie's photo was so old, she had a mullet. When was the last time you saw a woman with a mullet, ladies? Nobody in here's got a mullet. She's laughing. Nobody's in here's got a mullet. Same thing, 5 years. Leslie, you got to update this. Got to update this. To make it worse, she had a photo. In her photo was a standard poodle. I'll let that sink in for a minute. Anybody know what a standard poodle is? Yeah, same hairdo.
But once they switched the photos, were they glad they did that?
Yeah, I think so. Mary didn't care. I mean, Mary had been selling real estate since before I was born. So she did. I think she just did it to shut me up, to be honest with you. So I quit. Every time I see her, I wouldn't ask her about it. But yeah, it's whatever you decide to do marketing wise, be consistent. Pick a direction, keep going that way for a while. I'm not saying you can't ever change it up, but you're going to have to put a little bit of commitment into it. 1, because it's expensive. Marketing's expensive. And 2, let people get used to seeing the same thing over and over. One more quick thing. The simplest way to get your name out in the area for the least amount of money, sponsor a sports team. This is particularly important if you're doing a geographic market. Find the local high school, find the local Little League fields, find where the local youth football practices and plays. It's not that expensive. High school football is the most expensive typically because it draws the most people by and large for most of the high schools around here. Couple things to remember. Most bang for your buck dollar wise, sponsor an indoor sport. Either volleyball, boys or girls basketball, or wrestling. And the reason I say that is because once the banner goes up in the gym, it does not come down. So if you sponsored girls volleyball, they are not going to take that down for basketball and wrestling season. It's up the whole year. Average cost in this area between $350 and $500 per season. You guys spend more than that a year on coffee. So, Little League, If you have school age kids, any sport your kid plays, sponsor a team. That way you can write off 100% of the sport. Anything you do. Let's see, we got one. Who else is wearing a name tag or something with your brand on it? Okay. 365 days a year, unless I'm going to a wedding or a funeral, I'm wearing something that says Paradise Signs, hat, t-shirt, sweatshirt, button up, something, because this is how I make my living. If people don't know what you do, they can't ask you questions, you can't engage. Human nature dictates that even if I've never spoken to you, but my son's in your daughter's class or my son's on your son's little league team, I know that you're a realtor. If I have a question, human nature says that I'm more likely to approach you having never spoken to you before than cold calling him off of a sign down the street. So it's passive marketing as opposed to aggressive marketing. So something to think about. If you have school age kids and you're picking them up, dropping them off from school, their games, their whatever, get magnets for your car, put your brokerage logo and your name and phone number on the back window. It's the easiest way for people to recognize and, commit to memory the fact that this is what you do for a living. It does also become a how's my driving. 100%. So something to think about, but the easiest way to market yourself.
You guys do shirts as well? Or
I do not do shirts. I have an embroidery lady out of Loomis that is fantastic. I have a couple of different screen print people for t-shirts and stuff like that. If you would like that contact information, just I'll pass out some of my cards. You guys just shoot me a quick email. I will be happy to do that for you.
What's the best way to get a hold of you, Larry?
Email, here is your sign at live.com. Telephone is 916-663-2617. I'm on Facebook.
I just Googled Paradise Signs.
Yeah.
Larry, one more question.
Sure.
What trends are you seeing with real estate signs? I'm seeing more and more of these black signs with white lettering that kind of stands out. What do you think about that?
Doing a lot of black and white signs. What I don't like about black and white signs. Everybody's luxury signs put black and white, maybe with a little gold in there. You guys have a very unique color scheme. Don't screw that up.
The gold and the blue.
The blue and the orange, the blue and the gold. I understand, having been almost 30 years doing this is the #1 popularity contest in the world, real estate mortgage lending, and you want to market your brand. Okay. It is as important to you as an agent, whether you believe it or not, that there's 347 listings in 5 counties with basically the same EXP sign in front of it. Don't screw that up. Don't make a pink and yellow EXP sign. Okay. You can change it up, but that brand recognition is important. You guys are paying a certain amount of money to be part of this organization. Or if you're at Remax, you're paying a certain amount of money to be there. Don't not put the balloon on your signs. If you're Keller Williams, don't make a yellow and green Keller Williams sign, black, red, and orange. Just black, red, and white. Just try to remember that, there's a lot of people involved in this and a lot of people that have come before you that are doing the same market, basically. You want to stand out personally, but you also want to make sure that brand is kind of relevant across everything else. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Hey, man, I didn't mean to tie you up so long, but I appreciate you, sir. Absolutely. Oh, no, I won't forget the cigar.
One of my favorites, right? Awesome. Mix it to your standards.
Oh, yeah, look, it's a great, yeah, and if you want to know anything about cigars, come.
Guys, thank you so much for coming today. Have a fantastic weekend. We'll see you next week. Thank you. Bye online.